Have you ever had to fight for something? Maybe you and someone else were competing for something and you had to work extremely hard to reach a goal? Well, that is exactly what Jonas was doing in the book Swagger, written by Carl Duker. Um, the setting of my book takes place at Harding High in Seattle and in Redwood City in California. It also takes place at Jonas's house and in the basketball gym. The main characters are Jonas and his family, Levi and Jonas's other teammates, Coach Hartwell and Coach Ryder. Jonas is a senior in high school. He's a small point guard, and he's competing for a scholarship at Monitor College. He has a normal mom and dad. Levi is a big power forward, and he's one of the best players on Jonas's team, and he has a very religious family. Coach Hartwell, he is a young high school coach who got the head coaching job after the old coach got injured and is too old to coach anymore. Coach Ryder is the head coach at Monitor College, a college that Jonas is fighting for a scholarship at, so he plays a big role. The general background. Jonas was a stand-up point guard at his high school in Redwood City, his junior season, and he was playing really well. He's competing for the scholarship, and he's probably going to get it until his dad got laid off at his construction job, and they have no money, so they're forced to move to Seattle so his dad can get a new job. And while he's moving at Seattle, he has to start from scratch his senior year with a whole bunch of new people, and he doesn't get the starting job his senior year, the start of the season, because his coach is really old school. He doesn't like the way that Jonas plays, so he does not get the starting spot. And his scholarship, all hopes of it seem lost. But halfway through the season, his coach got injured. He's really old. He got injured, and the assistant coach, a really young, modern type basketball coach, takes over, and he likes the way Jonas plays more than the old coach. So halfway through the season, Jonas gets a start. They start to play better. Jonas impresses people, and his hopes of getting a scholarship go up. I'm going to read a passage from the book now. This is when they're playing the number one team in Seattle, and they're losing, and Jonas goes in the second half. The other team was Garfield. Garfield's coaches, thinking the game was salted away, had their second string on the court. On the first possession of the fourth quarter, a guy who looked like an 8th grader tossed up a wild shot from the corner. Cash snagged the rebound, hit me in stride, and I was off. Because we'd walked the ball up the court the entire game, Garfield wasn't expecting a fast break. Deshaun filled the lane to my right. Levi was streaking toward the hoop on my left. Deshaun had more separation, but I put the ball above the rim on Levi's side. He caught it and slammed it through, something he wouldn't have done if Knet was on the bench. The backboard rocked, and the Garfield players looked stunned. On Garfield's next possession, Nick tipped the pass loose, and I bounced on it. Again, I raced the ball up the court, this time faking Levi and taking it to the rack myself. I felt the contact, heard the whistle, but still had enough strength to kiss the ball through the glass. It hung on the rim for an instant before dropping through. After I made the free throw, Garfield's 10-point lead had been slashed in half. Garfield's coach called a timeout so that he could bring his starters back in, but their heads weren't entirely in the game. I had to keep our energy high, keep the momentum on our side, and not let anyone lose control. One bad pass, one stupid foul, one forced shot, and Garfield would come roaring back. That's how good they were. For the next few minutes, we played perfect basketball. Nick got a layup off a perfectly threaded bounce pass. Levi hit a bank shot after I'd penetrated, passed the ball out. Cash hit 2 3-pointers from the corner, the second one tying the game with 3 minutes left. Garfield's coach called another timeout, and then another, but we were an express train going full speed. Levi brought down a dunk on an offensive rebound to give us our first lead. Deshaun made a steal and a layup at the end to seal the deal. When the clock ran 0, short on the scoreboard, guys exploded off the bench. Hartwell leaped in the air, and for a minute we jumped around the center court, high-fiving and chest-bumping one another. Then we realized we were being jerks, and we lined up on the other side, shook Garfield's hands. Once I acknowledged every Garfield player, I looked for my dad. He was pumping his fist and shouting, "Great game, Jonas, great game." I gave him a thumbs up before Hartwell grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me, a huge smile on his face. "That's how to play basketball," he shouted. I don't know about the other guys, but I completely forgot about Kenneth. Once I did remember, I felt guilty. What if he was really sick? And then I spotted him standing in the locker room door, pale but taking everything in. The locker room was a wild scene. We were energized by the win, amazed at what we pulled off. In the middle of it all, Hartwell sent me a piece of paper. It's a stat sheet. You finally got some numbers you can be proud to send your coach at Monitor College. So that was in the middle of the book, and I chose this passage because it was their comeback win against the number one team in Seattle, and it was a big win for them. Okay, My opinion on the book is I like it. It has really good use of imagery and it keeps you wanting to read more. Will Jonas get the scholarship or will he fall short? It's the big question. Why should you read this book? You should read this book because it has a lot of cliffhangers. It's written really well and has a lot of moments that keep you on the edge of your seat. Anyone who likes basketball or sports in general would love this book, so I would highly recommend it.